everyone. I'm Erin Rippentrop. I am the Senior HR Director responsible for HR Services, Strategy, and Analytics at Andersen Corporation. The first question I usually get when I say Andersen is, are you the window and door manufacturer? The answer is yes, we are. We like to think of ourselves as the premier product in North America. We do have a little plant in Italy, which I've yet to be to, but I'm hoping they'll fly me eventually. And with that, if you watched March Madness, we've started partnering with the Property Brothers. So we have some fun commercials out there if you want to Google later and find them. I will caveat my entire presentation with, I spent 25 years in IT, and now I'm officially an HR imposter because I've been in HR for 2 years. And I got the question in the back of what brought you to HR. And really, I was brought on because I have a lot of experience implementing large-scale system implementations. And we were going through a major HR transformation, and they needed somebody to implement ServiceNow, HR Service Delivery, Workday, and UKG. And we did that within a year and a half, less than that, actually. So if you want to learn about our HR transformation, I'm talking tomorrow at the Rethink HR conference, and I'll give you a template and lessons learned, because there's a ton of lessons learned when you go through a 5-year HR implementation. But today, we're going to talk about, I know everything's about AI, right? Like everyone's talking about AI, but isn't the real question, what do we do with this? Because now it's not about jobs, it's truly about skills. And I will tell you, we're not talking enough about that. And so I took creative liberties when I created this presentation. And I want to start with a question. So my question is, raise your hand if you have ever ordered something from your mobile device and had it show up the next day. Okay, I think everybody. If you didn't, I want to talk to you later. But we love that service, right? And we're used to it. So I'm a consumer. I'm maybe a bad parent. I've been traveling. I forgot to order my kids some supplies. So I'm in Chicago. I'm going to my phone last night. I say, yep, I want it to my home. Send it there. Oh, wait, I get options. Like, how bad of a parent were you, Erin? Do you need it by 5 a.m.? No, I'm pretty good. I need it by 7 p.m. though. Or do you want to be sustainable and maybe get it in your one shipment that week? So like you're empowered as this consumer to have that option. Okay, one more question. Now, how many of you have employees that wait weeks to have basic HR questions answered? I see a few hands. Come on, let's be real. I think it happens all the time. And what I want to tell you is that's the great paradox of 2026 that we sit in here, because we're both people, right? We are the consumer who gets everything the way we want it for our preference, and we get to say when we want what delivered where. On the flip side, we're also the employee who goes to work, and we feel like we just showed up into a different decade, right? These systems are not what we want to use at work. So I loved hearing about McDonald's and all the data analytics you're doing and personalized dashboards. Like we feel behind at Andersen, so I'd love to talk to you later. But reality is, like people are replacing systems that implemented in the 1990s. Literally, our company had PeopleSoft from 1992, and we just replaced it with Workday 2026. And those processes are very different. And so I want to talk to you about not more tools, but about this new people operating system. And I truly believe it is one that is more personal. It is definitely more tech-enabled. You'll probably see more IT people going to HR. And then, of course, ultimately, it is more human. So according to McKinsey Global Institute, AI compressed what was expected to be a decade of people transformation into 18 months. That is 10 years going to 18 months. Think about how much you changed as a person in 10 years, right? And if you just speed that up into 18 months. And this isn't a trend headline. This is literally a timeline correction. McKinsey's most recent State of AI research shows that Gen AI moved faster than every previous enterprise technology wave. That is faster than the internet, faster than mobile device. And in people operations specifically, capabilities once projected for the 2030s is actually happening now. And this change didn't creep in. I think we all feel that. It happened all at once. Companies will tell you, yeah, we've been working on AI for a while. I don't know if I completely believe them because it really happened fast for us, right? But the truth is, today, over 90% of organizations are investing in AI, but only 1% say they are anywhere near maturity. And that gap tells us something critical. This goes back to the beginning. Employees now expect consumer-grade digital experiences at work. And they disengage quickly when they don't get it, and that's leading to higher turnover. So, this isn't about HR being behind, it's really about the reality that the system itself was never designed for this personalization at scale. And for decades, our systems were built for compliance, efficiency. It wasn't for the individualized experience, adaptability, or speed. And now, for the real first time ever, we know that this technology will allow us to have that level of personalization that is possible. And that's what's truly exciting. We can meet somebody where they are in life and give them that personalized experience. So the system really just aged out on us. And HR didn't slow this down, technology didn't break us, but the challenge is that our people systems were never built for this pace of change or this level of adaptability. And now there's this new expectation that you are going to give us a tailored experience and you're going to know me as a person, not just another female in HR. Because there's a lot of us in HR, right? But we're all different. We all have unique skills. We might have same titles as a job, but we're different. So this is why what we're seeing now, we need to fundamentally shift our operating model mindset, how HR delivers value, and how organizations will ultimately compete for top talent. So leading organizations now, I think the past 5 years was upgrade your tools. I think we're over that now. It's not just about upgrade your tools. We have to re-architect how work, talent, and technology fit together. And really, at the very core center of that is about humanity and human needs at the center. So that's the shift that I'm talking about when I talk about a people operating system. And I want to contrast it with the op model that we all kind of inherited. So the old model was process-centric. It was built on static job architectures, governed by that one-size-fits-all policies. We still have data trapped in silos. My team talks about that a lot. And it's designed for efficiency, but not so much for humanity. And this worked well when work was stable, careers were linear, change was slow, which we all know change is no longer slow. But in a people operating system, we're done talking about that single platform, right? I mean, I was looking at Jack's slides and saying, oh, do you use ServiceNow? I do too. But also I was like, well, we're not using some of those, but guess what? That's gonna go away. And it's really about the operating model, one that connects the work, the skills, the data, the experience in real time. And it's built on these 3 core pillars, which I'm going to talk to you about today. So the first one is about being more personal. We can actually do personalization at scale. It's possible with AI. It allows you to adapt to the individual, and this is the part I love the most. Like, you think about how much you grow as a human through your different ages, well, also in the workplace you grow, and you want different learnings at different times, maybe different mentors, and we can create this curated journey for you based on your interests, your skills, your curriculum, your interests, and really make it individual to who you are. And this is a fundamental shift. In the past, personalization was really about the executives or critical roles and these small groups of people, but now it can be for everybody. And at the end of the day, that leads to increased engagement, less turnover, and ultimately always level setting and hiring up the bar for all employees across your company. So what does this look like in practice? Well, what does it mean? It means AI-driven career suggestions, personalized learnings and benefits pathways that evolve as life and career needs change. And I really love that one. We have a lot of people at Andersen. It's common to have people stay there for a very long time. So we have people there for 30 years. And I'm hearing they hate the retirement process. Well, I'll tell you, I want to plan for retirement. I know I'm a ways away, but I would love to have a little journey map tell me every step of the way what I need to do. That's going to be more important for me as I near retirement. Or if you're about to have a family and you're looking at maternity leave, people tell me maternity leave is so difficult, and I don't understand why. I had a baby 18 years ago. I had trouble then. Why can't we make that process simple and tell them step by step what to do? I think that's ridiculous. So I will be changing that at Andersen. And then real-time role-based nudges for managers. And I really believe in this one too. I don't think companies are good enough at succession planning. You have your key leaders, and then sometimes you have an opening at a C-suite and you bring in somebody from a different company. Sometimes that's the right answer, but I also think, well, what are we doing wrong here? If we're not leveling up our own leaders here, and how do we do that? Well, you have to meet them where they are. You have to understand what they're going through, the conversations they're having with their employees, what that employee is going through. So you can truly nurture them and meet them in real time to make them a better leader, but also make it a better employee. And together you all grow, and I think that creates a workplace we all want to be a part of. The best technology doesn't feel like technology. If it did, we wouldn't use it, right? AI doesn't feel like technology. I mean, people shame me for this, but I use it as my therapist. I use it as my doctor. I was traveling in Italy. My daughter had a rash. And I know it's not always 100% accurate, but it made me feel like a better parent. So I'm going to keep using it that way until maybe I'm not a better parent. But you know what? It has to intersect with your day-to-day lives in simplicity. It needs to be embedded in your day-to-day work. That's the most important thing. It shouldn't feel like another thing that you have to go to, right? Like I have to open up Teams, I have to open up Workday, I have to open up our internet or intranet. No, no, no. We want one portal, we want it all there, and I want it personalized, and it should know exactly who I am and what I'm looking to do that day, and it should be at my fingertips and super easy. So what does tech embedded really mean? It means AI copilots embedded in core work systems, which we're already seeing today, but I think it could still grow and be better. Automation replacing work that doesn't require human judgment. And I really love that last one because if you're running HR services, there's a ton of automation opportunity and repeatable tasks that nobody should be taking time to do. So you have to have that continuous improvement mindset and automate that and put people on the work that truly matters. That is more fulfilling. Skills increasingly inferred automatically from work activity. So freeing up time for insight, design, leadership, not just self-reported or once a year. And I believe that when technology works this way, when it all comes together, it's simple, it's easy, it's embedded in day-to-day, we stop thinking of HR as a help desk. And that's really what I'm running right now, and I ran an IT help desk, but it's a queue that people get into with a ticketing system. And guess what? Not all the HR teams are in the ticketing system, so we might close your ticket and say, sorry, you're going to email now. That's not a good service. That's not what people want. So we need the continuity, the workflow, process journey mapping, and make sure it feels like an amazing, seamless experience. And also, since I've been in HR, we always talk about how we want to be a strategic partner. Well, the way to do that is to actually automate the repeatable tasks and get people to their own answers. So then we truly can talk about workforce planning. How do we help with enterprise strategic goals? We're elevating across the board, all of our workforce. That's strategy. And here's the irony I think most people miss. It's when machines do more, people actually become more important. I'm going to say that again. When machines do more, people become more important. I don't believe that AI is replacing humanity. I think it's about reclaiming it. You talk about empathy, right? Like, how do you truly know what somebody's going for? Can you hear the inflection in their voice, the tone? Can you see how they're reacting to things, right? That's not all there yet. And I think this new people operating system, like automation has to take on the work that doesn't require the judgment, the empathy, the creativity. But managers get to spend more time coaching, not doing transactions, like approving time cards maybe, and things that are really simple. I think that's a real opportunity. So in my mind, automation doesn't dehumanize work, but bad design does. And the irony is really beautiful, I think. When machines do more, people get to be more human. And so that's what I'm taking away from AI. Is, hey, it makes me a better parent when I can go to ChatGPT in Italy and tell my daughter, hey, don't worry, it's not a spider bite, it's actually just a common rash, right? We can do that, and then I can handle the mom-kid relationship. So, what is the real outcome of all of this? It's agility, and that word's been there for a really long time. At least for IT, we work agile, right? Minimal viable product, all that good stuff. But this is what it unlocks. It unlocks agility, not hustle, not burnout, which we've all been there, the ability to adapt continuously, and jobs change, but skills endure. So we should be talking more about skills, not jobs. Deloitte and others are clear. The fundamental unit of work is no longer the job, it's skills. And people analytics becomes that nervous system of the model, and agility is the outcome. So before we close, I want to pause and talk about leadership intent, because I believe that this transformation doesn't hinge on technology. It hinges on the choices that leaders make. And so I want you to walk away and ask yourself a few questions that this moment really requires of us. The first one, are we willing to move beyond optimizing today's HR systems and redesign the operating model for how work actually happens now? Ask your teams that. Hey, if you didn't have the current operating model in place, what would it look like if you started all fresh? I'm curious what they would say, and that's where you're gonna get those big ideas, and maybe even trial some things, right? It doesn't mean that the whole enterprise has to change overnight, but you could pocket some of this and try it out and see how it works. Are we prepared to shift from managing jobs to growing skills, even when that challenges long-standing structures, roles, and comfort zones? And that's a tough one. Do we want HR to remain a service function, or do we actually expect it to operate as a strategic designer of workforce agility? I came to HR truly believing that IT's had its days, and now IT is now the HR. We're over Y2K, right? And technology is everywhere. But at the end of the day, we have to start acting like we are a strategic designer, and we should be the right-hand person to the CEO. And ultimately, I think the most important question is, are we ready to invest, not just in tools, but in the leadership behaviors, governance, and most importantly, data discipline required to make this work sustainable? Workforce agility doesn't emerge by accident, and this is really the result of clear intent. You have to have these conversations, and you don't have to do everything at once, but you do need to open up these conversations to help people understand how AI is generally changing the organization. And if you're going to be successful, you're going to have to be super agile and also try new things. So let me bring this home. This conversation was really never about AI. Sorry to disappoint you. It was never about tools. It was about how we choose to design the work that we all get to do, and actually we get to determine that. So we talked about the people operating system, one that I believe will be more personal, obviously more tech-enabled, but ultimately more human. And it's not agility through pressure, it's actually agility through constant reorganization, but agility through visibility, adaptability, and trust. And this is a different era, so we need to treat it like that. And so I would just leave it with be bold, try new things, and have the difficult conversations, because that's where the big, bold ideas happen that really drive further innovation and success for any company. That's it. Thank you.